While everyone in Philadelphia was salivating over Marcus Mariota's every move at the scouting combine in Indianapolis, the bitter birds were more focused on Monday's workouts featuring the defensive backs. Needless to say, it was Wayne's World. It is NFL scouting combine party time. Excellent. Mike Owens is here. I'm Adrian Fedq. Mike, how was that scouting combine, buddy?
Oh, sorry about that. I was just getting a quick peek there at Marcus Mariota. But
Let me see
no,
the binoculars.
these are Chip Kelly's special binoculars. But today, we will not be talking about Marcus Mariota because, well, it's been talked about way too much. So we're going to talk about some cornerbacks today and possibly some safeties that the Eagles could look at in the draft because, well, that's what the Eagles need, and those are the more realistic options. So we're going to talk about some names today. The big names out there right now are guys like Trae Waynes, Jalen Collins, and Marcus Peters.
Now, it's funny because heading into the scouting combine, there were, a couple guys that I really had targeted that the Eagles could possibly snag, but all three of those guys all freaking did wonders in their workouts. And it wasn't just defensive backs. I really love Vic Beasley coming in, and he had to go tear the shit off in Indy. And then Kevin White goes out and runs like a 4.3540. So we can forget about getting those guys now. And then Trae Waynes. Oh, we love Trae Waynes. And, of course, he goes and, he improves his draft stock mightily. Now he's probably going to go top 10. So he goes out. What did he run? What was his 40 time? It
That
was,
was a 4.31.
there you go, 4.3140. But, the drill that I was really looking at was, the backpedaling drill where they start off with the back pedal and they do one hip turn to the right, then they turn to the left, and then they go jet off to catch a pass and a potential interception. And his hip movement was really fluid. His back pedal was solid. And, that was what I was really looking at because there were some quarterbacks on that workout that, weren't so, coordinated, so to speak. But he was fluid. He looked good. He looked smooth. And God damn it, he looked way too good. And now, I know we're talking about trading up for Marcus Mariota, but they may want to trade up to go get Waynes because this kid is fabulous.
Yeah, no, it's definitely something the Eagles are going to have to look at because how it looks right now, I mean, Mariota, he did pretty well here at the combine. So, he didn't really improve or decrease his value, but he made it known that he's going to be a top five pick. So now the Eagles have to look at possibly getting Waynes. Now it really all depends on where he falls to. If Waynes falls, past 10, then the Eagles really have to start thinking about trying to move up and get him because I feel like if he gets past 10, then it would be realistic for the Eagles to move up and get him and really not give up that much.
You know, just to put Marcus Mariota's combine workout in perspective, he ran faster than seven running backs. Oh, actually, no, I word that completely wrong. Only 7 running backs ran faster than him. Actually, only 5 of them. 2 of them tied him. He ran a 4.5240. That is ridiculous for a quarterback. And he looked good with his throwing. His throws too. Although I don't really take the throwing seriously. I mean, you're not being rushed. Yeah, so you take that for what it was. But it was funny watching Chip Kelly with the binoculars. With Marcus Mariota's every move. Just salivating. I could just see just dripping from his mouth. I don't know what he's looking at. I don't know if he's looking at his chiseled buttocks or if he's looking for his cock. I have no idea. But yeah, he had those binoculars working.
Yeah, the special Marcus Mariota binoculars. You know, they've been waiting for this moment at the NFL Combine for Chip Kelly. And Mariota shined, and he showed why he's going to be that top 5 pick. And also Jameis Winston did a nice job. So they really made their cases there. So it just showed that it's going to be extremely tough for the Eagles to jump up and get Mariota at this point. He's really looking like a top 2 pick.
Yeah, yeah. The thing that I could see going on here is a team that's in front of the Eagles to try and go to the number 2 pick to go get Mariota. I mean, I still don't really think Tennessee is going to go after him because Mariota really doesn't fit the scheme, and they do like Zach Mettenberger, so I think they're going to go defense. So, who knows? Maybe the Jets try to trade up. You got the Browns in the mix. So who knows what's going to happen with that. Now, let's focus on the defensive backs. We talked about Mariota enough. If you want to go talk about Mariota, go to another outlet. Yeah, we're kind of sick of talking about him. So we're going to talk about some defensive backs. There were some guys that stood out to me. I really like Jalen Collins. In case Waynes, obviously right now he's not going to be at 20, but Jalen Collins is a guy that I really like too. He ran a good 40 time. And the other good thing about the combine, no homo, by the way. They wear these skimpy little outfits. They're tight little suits, and you can really see the physical specimens of some of these guys. And Jalen Collins is one guy that really stood out to me from a physical standpoint. Just how long his arms are, and obviously that's very important. Pressing at the line of scrimmage, and even during his workouts, his hip movement looked good. He looked coordinated, smooth back pedal. He looked good to me.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. Jalen Collins is a type of guy where he'll probably actually fall to the second round, and that's good news. This might be a situation where if the Eagles don't pick a cornerback in the first round, he's a guy that they could maybe move up in the second round to get. I think down the road, he's probably going to be end up being one of the better cornerbacks, out of this draft class. And like you were talking about, the thing that makes him special is really just his rare combination of his height, his weight, and his speed. I mean, he's 6'1". He's 203 pounds, and really, you were talking about his arm length is the biggest thing. His arm length, it's just bigger than guys like Trae Waynes, and also bigger than Marcus Peters too. So Jalen Collins is a guy to look out for. Possibly in the second round. The thing that's the knock on him is that he only has 10 career starts in college, so he's a bit rare.
Yeah, a bit raw. You mean there?
Yeah.
Yeah, the one drill that I really look at, I know the 40 time is like what like the creme de la creme that everyone wants to focus on, but the drill that I referenced this a little bit earlier, is that backpedaling and changing direction drill. I don't really know necessarily what it's called, but obviously the back pedal is a vital technique for a quarterback, as well as the ability to change direction. And in this drill, the prospects, they start off by heading backwards for 5 to 10 yards, and then they have to pivot and run in whatever direction the coach sends them. So a player's ability to quickly respond to a new direction is a good test to me for how they will react in a real game situation. And like I was kind of saying earlier, some of these guys, you could see it. The fluid hips, the hip turn and all that, and how smooth they are. And some guys just don't look that coordinated. And, some of the guys that stood out to me in this drill, I liked Ronald Darby. I liked Charles Gaines from Louisville. Durant Grant from Ohio State. I thought he had a good workout. And the guys that disappointed me, these are guys that, are considered first, second round possible picks. I didn't think Marcus Peters looked that good. P.J. Williams is another guy I didn't think looked that good. And the one guy that really disappointed me maybe the most was Curtis Drummond. In terms of this safety class, it's not a good safety class. It's Landon Collins and everybody else. And everybody else isn't really that good. I was hoping, Curtis Drummond would stand out to me, and he really didn't. He looks good on tape. He plays very instinctively, great tackler, but sometimes your athleticism can be exposed at these workouts, and he really didn't look that good. Didn't run a good 40 time. Looked a little bit uncoordinated in the backpedaling drill, and I'm a little concerned for him now. So we'll see. He was a guy that I really liked, watching on tape, watching at Michigan State, but now I don't really know.
Yeah, what this really says here is that the Eagles are gonna have to we're gonna have to go out and get a safety in free agency here because, like you were saying, really besides Landon Collins, there's really not many safeties in this draft. So Eagles are definitely gonna have to go out in free agency and get a safety because let's be honest. I think we've had enough of Nate Allen, a guy who gets caught peeking in the backfield, a guy who also has problems going to Red Lobster. He decides that when he goes to Red Lobster, he wants to take his pants down and eat, with no pants on. Well, that's a problem when there's underage girls involved. So it's been enough of Nate Allen here. But the problem is we got to find a replacement in free agency, or otherwise the Eagles are going to continue to eat at Red Lobster.
Pants on the ground, pants on the ground, pants on the ground. Oh man! Now it's funny because the scouting report on Landon Collins, you were saying this earlier, is he gets caught peeking in the backfield. Now he's like strictly like a downhill thumper. He's great in the running game, but when it comes to pass coverage, he's not that great. Now Landon Collins is the only guy that's gonna go first round out of the safeties. And after that, it's not looking too good. I'm struggling to find a second guy, right now that stands out to me. I can't find anybody. And, it's a weak safety class. It's not necessarily worth to, draft one just to draft one. You can sign a free agent, and you can even go after a safety next year. You don't necessarily have to go after one this year. So that's kind of how I look at that situation. Now, there's also a big free agent name that the Eagles are targeting that's going to be important to see what they might do in the first round, because if they sign this guy, all of a sudden you may not have to go cornerback. You can maybe wait for one. And we're going to tease this because we're going to talk about this more in depth next week. But Byron Maxwell, the Eagles are the front runners to land this guy, cornerback from Seattle. Well, not anymore. He's a free agent now. But he's a guy that the Eagles are targeting. He's a pretty good corner. I don't think he's like top 10 or anything, but I do think he's top 20. He's a really solid guy. And, so the Eagles are going to be targeting him. Now, we're not going to talk about him anymore in the show, so we're going to tease this. We're teasing this. We're that blonde at the bar, right? You buy her a shot, you buy her a drink. She'll talk to you, right? She'll talk to you, and she'll gulp that drink down. But once she gulps that drink down, that's the only thing she's gulping that night.
Yeah, that good old trick. But, we will kind of talk about what happens if the Eagles are able to land Maxwell in free agency. That would really help out because that would really open up their options in the draft here a little bit. If they were able to land a guy like Maxwell, then maybe we're talking about a guy like Jalen Collins, who could possibly go here in the second round, so the Eagles could then use their first round pick somewhere else, and then take a look at Jalen Collins possibly trading up in the second round to get him.
Yeah. So we'll see. All right. So there's something else I wanted to talk about in terms of 40 times, because sometimes you can't really look at it when when talking about press corners, you can run a slow 40 time because when you're pressing, you don't really have to worry about having to be that fast. And the guy that immediately comes to mind right now is Marcus Peters, because he ran like a 4.53, which isn't that great, but he's a press guy. And the perfect example of this in the NFL right now is Richard Sherman. Sherman ran a 4.640. Well, he's pretty good quarterback, isn't he? So I just wanted to make that point real quick.
Yeah, well, you talk about Marcus Peters and, go a little bit more in depth about him. He's a, 6 foot. He's got pretty good arm length too. Very close to Jalen Collins. He's 197. Now, the problem here with Marcus Peters is he had some issues at Washington with the coaching staff. He, got into some arguments. He was suspended for a game. Then he actually ended up getting dismissed from the team. So that's one of the things that you have to, keep an eye out with him is, disciplinary issues, and if that'll carry over into the NFL. But, besides the disciplinary issues, I think that he's going to, he's possibly going to be the next quarterback drafted after Trae Waynes. So he's a guy that actually could be there if the Eagles stay put at number 20.
Yeah, except I don't really like him. I kind of want Jalen Collins. I'm kind of falling in love with this guy a little bit. Like, even though he's only started 10 games in college, and that, it's a little bit of an issue, but yeah, like you were saying, he's raw. Well, you can work with a guy like that. Now, there are certain schools that are great at, certain positions. Obviously, when you think of Penn State, you think of linebackers. They're linebacker U. LSU, they always bring out good cornerbacks, and they got another good one. They're pretty good at teaching those guys. So that's like another thing you kind of have to look at. Now, even like Michigan State, they produce cornerbacks. So Trae Waynes obviously went there. They had a first round pick last year, Darqueze Dennard. So they're always producing guys in the secondary. Obviously, Curtis Drummond's going to be another guy that's drafted. He's a safety. So even in terms of that, I sometimes look at that. Certain schools are really good at developing certain positions.
Yeah, I'm glad that you didn't make any comments about Penn State because otherwise, we might have to hand down a 1 week suspension. I didn't want you to.
That sly little devil, Keith Olbermann.
Yeah, you got to be careful. You don't want to make any comments and get that suspension.
Man, as a society, we have become so soft and so sensitive. Oh my God. Jesus Christ. I kind of giggled. I thought his comments were kind of funny. Now, obviously he wasn't referencing the Thon thing. Now, the thing about Thon, it's really cool what they do. The Penn State students, they're raising all the money for cancer. That's great. And Keith Olbermann even said that, but he wasn't referencing that. And like all these students and all these Penn State alums, they all got their panties up in a bunch, and they got all pissed off and came at Olbermann, and now he's being suspended. So, I mean, Olbermann is a cocky little fuck. So whatever. He let his ego get the best of him. But god damn, we are so sensitive, man. It was like the Bill Simmons thing all over again.
Yeah, no, yeah, you're right. I mean, the one thing that you learn about Penn State is you don't make any comments about that Don thing that they do. I mean, that's a huge thing when they raise all this money. So, yeah, if you go after that with Penn State people, well, yeah, you're just looking to get murdered. So that was a bad idea for him to take that issue up. So now he got to.
He wasn't even going after the Thon. He wasn't.
Yeah,
it started with some chick posted, we are.
Yeah.
The Keith Olbermann, and Olbermann responds, "We are pitiful." It wasn't referencing the Thon thing, and the guys at Penn State, the alums and all that, they misinterpreted what he said, and they got all pissed off, and that's how it all started. That's how the firestorm started. So. And then Olbermann was taking shots at students, saying how dumb they are and how they can't comprehend. And that's the part that I kind of thought was kind of funny. But, yeah, in terms of the Thon, that's not what he was going after. And that's not, hey, what they do with Thon, that is a tremendous thing that they do. Raising all the money for cancer, that's awesome. You know, it really is. But goddamn, people, like, relax. You know, like if someone comes at me, tells me that Temple football sucks, I'm not gonna go get all pissed about it. You know, but fuck you guys who say Temple sucks.
Yeah. Well, you know.
Let's not go there.
Temple should just put Kevin Hart on their team. They get a sellout every week.
Oh man,
They
yeah,
would pack
and
the
both
week.
those games. I think I'm the only Temple fan in America. The only Temple football. I actually watch them religiously, which is kind of
Yeah.
funny. They do suck. All right, and you know it's disappointing too because our basketball team always lets me down. They always go one and Dumphy in the goddamn NCAA tournament. They can never win anything. So, yeah, what are you going to do? You know, the Temple fans, we got no fan base. That's why we got denied of a bowl bid again. You know, this happened a couple years ago. They went 8-4 and they didn't make a bowl game, and it happened again this year. They went 6-6, bowl eligible, but you know they said, "Fuck you, Temple. You don't draw, so we're not going to pick you." And that's what happened.
Ugh. Well, there's your Temple rampage for the day.
Yeah, I was left heartbroken. I couldn't get out of bed for weeks.
Ugh.
Oh man. All right, yeah, we've completely lost track of our topic today. All right, so let's get back to what we were talking about. Now we've kind of covered all the defensive backs. There was a guy that had a fantastic workout. His name is Byron Jones, Connecticut. If there was a guy that really soared up the charts, it was him. His athleticism showed in the broad jump. He set a combine record. He had a broad jump of 12 feet 3 inches, and that set the mark by 8 inches. So 8 inches. That's pretty incredible to break the previous record by 8 inches. So I mean that's pretty crazy. And his vertical was he got up real high on his vertical. So this is a guy that is now going to soar up the draft charts just because he can jump real good.
Yeah, it's safe to say that in his second life he'll be coming back as a frog.
Yeah, this guy was ridiculous athleticism there. Some other guys, just not talking defensive backs. Vic Beasley, man. God damn. Some of these mock drafts to me don't make any sense because there are certain guys that like aren't slated to go in the top 10, but I know they're good football players, and I'm always right when it comes to some of these guys. Like Luke Kuechly, for an example. Now, I think he did go top 10, but I knew that he was going to be a really, really good football player. But he wasn't, like, top 5 pick in most mock drafts, and that to me was like, why? He's really, really fucking good. And, watching him, like, I know how good he is. And Vic Beasley is kind of, meeting that description to me this year. Now, after his workouts, he might be a top 10 guy now, but he wasn't even sniffing the top 10 for most mock drafts. So, that to me never makes sense to me. There are certain guys in college that I know are going to translate well into the pros, and for whatever reason, they're just not high on the mock drafts.
Yeah, it's amazing what the combine does. I mean, if you go out and have a good combine, you can really increase your draft stock pretty dramatically. So it's a funny thing. And then after the NFL draft happens, everyone forgets what these guys did in the combine, unless you had an outstanding combine, then people remember. But yeah, pretty much everyone will forget after the draft what guys did in the combine. So it's really just one of those things where guys can go and really increase their value in the draft.
Yeah, and the other guy I referenced this earlier was Kevin White, wide receiver, West Virginia. I was hoping maybe that he could fall to 20. But that's not going to happen now. I think he's better than Amari Cooper. I think he's the top wideout in this draft. So I think this guy is explosive. I feel the same way about Kevin White as I did about Odell Beckham last year. So I think he's a stud. Now, I don't think he's as good as Beckham per se, but I think he's going to be really, really good pro.
Yeah, you were right on White. I mean, he's gonna be good. He increased his draft stock too. So, now he's really on the board for some of these teams that are picking early on. So, and like you said, yeah, he's probably he might even go ahead of Cooper. So, yeah, he looked good.
Yeah, he really did. Um, Lastly, I guess we'll talk quarterbacks right now. We already talked about Mariota, Winston. Oh, I hope we don't draft Brett Hundley. God damn, I hope we don't. And the other guy that I kind of like, ever since the Senior Bowl, I've been keeping my eye on this guy. Name's Brian Bennett, former Oregon guy, transferred because he couldn't beat out Marcus Mariota. So he went to southeastern Louisiana, I believe. And he's got the Cristiano Ronaldo hair flip going. I all of a sudden the hair part has become stylish in America. Now the hair part used to be for smart people. If you're smart, you got a hair part. But now it's become like the cool thing. You put a line on your head and then you flip your hair, and it's like so cool now. I don't understand it, but whatever. He's got the hair flip, and he's got a cannon for an arm. I'm kind of starting to fall in love with this guy now. I don't know if he could be like, I don't know how high he's going to get drafted, but if he's like out there in the fourth or fifth round, I'm snagging him.
Yeah, no, I agree. He's definitely a guy to watch out for. Like you said, especially if the Eagles decide to go the route where they keep Foles and they stick with him. Obviously, right now we're in a situation where we're gonna need a backup quarterback, and then at the very least a third string quarterback because Barkley is not cutting it. So, Bennett could be a guy, like you said, that they go out and, that they get, later on in the draft. And then he's a guy that you kind of develop and, you see what happens.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Last topic today. Obviously, if you guys have heard the news, Hot Harriman's going to be released. It's a report right now. It's not official, but it's looking like it's going to be official. So Harriman's is going to be gone. So that means the Eagles are going to have to draft an offensive guard.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, let's be honest. Matt Tobin, Andrew Gardner, Dennis Kelly, especially Matt Tobin, they're not going to get the job done. They were just replacements when Harriman's obviously suffered that torn biceps injury late in the season. Then he ended up being placed on IR. So yeah, I mean Harriman's was here for 10 years, and he was a solid part of that offensive line. He ended up starting 124 of 127 games. So I guess the Eagles felt like it was time to move on, especially with his recent injury. So yeah, gonna have to go out if they don't get an offensive guard in the free agency. Well, they're definitely gonna have to get one in the draft because they need to find a starter to replace them.
Yeah, I mean, they could go late rounds and develop someone and, go get a free agent. You could always do that.
Yeah, they
Not
do
that
do
guy.
both.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
they could.
sign a guy for a year or something.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it was this was like kind of one of those things where, yeah, I mean, it was kind of expected after his tearing his bicep, and he's getting up there in age, so it was time for them to move on. They saved some salary cap space, so that helps too.
Yeah, you're going to have to save that space for that teaser.
That's right. But let's hope that's what they're doing.
Yeah, yeah. All right, so that's going to be our topic for next week, by the way. We're going to do a free agent preview, and Byron Maxwell will be the main part of our discussion. So there you go. That's going to be our show for next week. All right, so it's getting to be final thoughts time. I got to get out of here. I got a dentist appointment, and I'm the last appointment, and the chick has to go pick up her kids. So, I tried, to get the appointment a little bit later, but she was like, "Nah, I got a kid, and I got to get, him out of school." So, I got to rush to this dentist. So
Yeah.
it is final thoughts time. Mike, go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, well, Chip Kelly can put his binoculars, back in his desk now. He won't need them for another year. So the combine is over. We watch all these guys dress up in their tight outfits and go out and perform activities on the field without any padding or helmets on. So that's over with, and now we get ready for free agency and the draft.
That is the great part about the combine. There are so many activities. So many activities.
Oh boy, it's a classic line.
It is a classic line, isn't it? Oh, man. All right. It is time to go. Hopefully you guys liked our show. Scout and Combine. Love it. All right. That's Mike Owens. I'm Adrian Fenke. We're out of here. We'll be back next week. Go Birds, baby.
Joe Birds.